who need to not pull that trick again, still able to run in and get a little bit of at least something done. So, and here he goes again. The Zergling, I think, spotted that time, and he's got a lot of Scourge up in that mix. They're kind of hidden from view, and putting down, okay, finally his third hatchery near his main. He's still, at least if he can keep the Mutalisk pump up, he'll still be in a good position where he has the defensive structure to work with, where Saint does not. Saint has to keep he can't bring his Mutalisk to the forefront. If he was going to do it, he had to go from the ground. So Saint's actually kind of in a double pinch here, where he's got to keep the Air Force up to contend with Yellow's Air Force, but eventually, if he wants to counterattack, he's going to have to go in basically into Spore Colonies, which is going to give Yellow some leeway to kind of come back into it. And Yellow using that to his advantage, actually, and I think that's one of the reasons he's attacking with that smaller forces. He knows he can rely on his defense for quite some time. Zerglings running in, I think mostly to serve the purpose for spotting, maybe even draw the individuals off. Attacking a couple free overlords here out in the field, and some Scourge now running from Saint to the forward position, but that's a lot of Scourge, and I think Yellow is just setting up an ingenious trap right here. He wants to try to lure them out, send the Scourge along an intercept route where basically the Mutalisks aren't really going to be able to engage. And now, running up, beautiful! He's going to be able to take out that Mutalisk at the secondary, which is going to open up with those Zerglings and chase off the rest. But Saint actually responding to it very, very well. Very, very well indeed, and able to take out a lot of the Zerglings before. It looks like he lost 2 drones, but didn't end up losing a much more than that. Still with the 2 split groups. So a nice little clever attack, and you can see just the experience of Yellow in ZvZ at play here. But ultimately, yeah, his antics still not putting him economically ahead. But again, I still feel like he's in a weird position where he's overall ahead. And switching to Hive Tech, wow. So feeling like he's got enough defensive leeway that he can switch to Hive Tech. And keep in mind, Defilers with Plague late game, they're just absolutely devastating. And hitting, it looks like, yeah, able to take out that Overlord as well. And also, if you can get a swarm down with some Zerglings underneath, it's hard. The problem is getting your Defiler all the way across there and keeping your Defiler alive in general. So usually it's more of a defensive tactic than it really is an offensive tactic. And again, Defiler is hard to protect with air alone. Putting down another Sunken Colony, actually that might turn into a Creep Colony just to provide some latent defense for any sort of Zergling run by. Filling up his secondary, so feeling a bit comfortable here. He knows he's got Saint a little bit psyched out, a little bit more on the defensive, and he's got a lot of, it looks like he's got a good Scourge, and that's got to be a full control group right there of Mutalisk. And it looks like he's got most of a control group and a secondary as well. So Yellow with an inferior force, but if he can get, again, some Defilers and some Plague out, he will be able to even things up fairly quickly, especially if Saint just keeps holding back and absorbing attacks rather than getting aggressive. And I'm surprised he actually hasn't done so, hasn't gone kind of hunting, and perhaps it's because of those Zergling attacks that keep running in. Oh, all those Scourge hit! And that's going to let Yellow engage. But more Scourge coming in, Yellow not backing out, and he's going to end up losing a lot of Mutalisks as well. So I think Saint's going to come out with another, at least, engagement victory right there. 2 Mutalisks coming back, and a lot of blood on the ground. I'm not sure what happened there with those drones and with those Zerglings here. I think they managed to get a kill or 2, but not able to get much more. There's the Defiler mound from Yellow, and keep in mind, and a Greater Spire to provide a Devourer, and that is going to be disastrous. Absolutely disastrous should Saint not spot this and not react to this, because ouch, yeah, he's starting to push up now with the Devourer out in the mix. That even one Devourer just completely changes the balance. But running in, no, the Zergling's completely not responding here, and I think this is going to be his opportunity to kind of check things out. Getting a couple hits on gas. I don't know if he was in vision range to check the rest of it, but Yellow's starting to move up. It was in fact a 4th spore. It looks like a 4th Spore Colony, and it looks like level 2 armor up now for Saint, which is why he was starting to move up and get a little bit aggressive and pulling back, which is a mistake, because his economy actually, I'm pretty sure his economy is down at this stage. He has a superior Mutalisk force, but once that Defiler comes out with that Plague, and once he gets that Devourer out, 1 Devourer plus Plague plus the Mutalisks, it's just a big advantage. Even with that armor, just all that health absolutely sapped away, and it's just going to be a very nice game, a very nice waiting game actually, just waiting for Saint to attack, getting the right opportunity to Plague. That's the other thing though, is his Mutalisk's very mobile, so you got to aim that Plague really, really well, because if you don't, it can really hurt. I'm gonna kill a couple Scourges just hanging out in the field. I think Saint actually might have been worthwhile just to keep a couple Mutalisks, maybe 3 and 3 at his main, at his secondary, and actually gone Mutalisk hunting otherwise, just try to engage Yellow out in the field to make sure that he didn't keep a mobile force, be a little bit more aggressive here in the mid game. I'm not sure how well that would have worked out, though, ultimately, the way Yellow's playing. And now we're seeing a lot. I got to assume those are Mutalisks, and one of those is probably going to be a Defiler here. And I'm excited to see how this is going to work out. There's the Defiler, and I'm waiting for the Devourer as well. And actually, a couple Zerglings kind of coming into the mix. The Overlord trying to wander its way in down to that corner. So another free kill there for Yellow. Some Zerglings pushing up. Got to back off, though, because, yeah, it looks like a larger Mutalisk force crashing down. And now running in, he's going to try to just sacrifice some units, get a couple more kills. There's some Zerglings there to intercept as well as the Sunken Colony, so he's not going to get a lot done. But at least he's going to be able to spot the main. But that was a lot of larva right there that Yellow kind of expended here. And he's been kind of expending a couple larva here and there. Able to take out an Overlord in kind, but not able to accomplish much else. So now, yeah, Defiler eating away at those Zerglings. He does have Consume up. He is going to have everything to work with. It's just up to Plague and up to that single Devourer that's going to be produced. Now he's starting to move out in the field. This is going to be ridiculous. Oh man, I cannot wait for this. Yellow running up, and he's got to keep that he's got to keep that Defiler though in that protective circle, because otherwise, oh man, this is genius. He's baiting them back, running them there. Let's wait for the Plague. There's a good Plague over a nice Mutalisk clump. Does manage to kill it, but he still plagued a large amount of those Mutalisks. Very nice trap. Not sure if that was the larger grouping, though, but now Saint's got something to think about. He's got to be like, crap, maybe I should just throw those in the corner, keep them on the defense, rather than having them on the offense. And I think that's his best decision at this stage, is leave those for the Zergling defense, let the rest of your Mutalisks kind of play towards the front, and then otherwise go from that moment, go from there. And a couple Zerglings actually able to cycle back through. So still an inferior number. He still has that Greater Spire, which I'm waiting for. And it could be actually just for the weapon upgrade, but still I'd like to see one Devourer out here in the mix against this army. And it looks like he does have the level 1 weapons. And he's just kind of doing that spread hit. He needs to be careful doing this, because this is just a bait tactic from Yellow, I think, to bring him right back into the Defilers. And that's got to be on Saint's mind this entire time. Okay, is he indeed running away from me, or is he just trying to bait me back so he can go for another Plague? And taking another expansion here at the 9 o'clock, the upper 9 o'clock. Let's see if he can defend it. It's going to create a pretty sizable target of opportunity where those Mutalisks are just going to have to hang out and take some hits. Those Overlords, I would say, pretty exposed as well. Saint, you can see he's just confused, doesn't quite know what to do. The Zergling's running in, going to try to get some kills here and there. Now the two large Mutalisk groups bearing down another nice Plague, catching another large group of those Mutalisks, rendering them mostly worthless. And ouch. And let's see what Saint can do. I think those Mutalisks, yeah, that were back, okay, the ones that were on the defense, those are the ones that can't really engage because they've only got a couple hit points each. So the Zerglings pouring in, yeah, they cannot defend there with that other group. He just doesn't have enough to engage, even with a superior number here. And let's see if Yellow decides to play. Oh, Plagues everything there! Let's see if he just starts picking off units now. Loses that Defiler, loses some Zerglings, but now he can run in and just start picking off Mutalisks at a time. But the numbers, it's just too much, actually. Just okay, now he's coming in for that counterattack, and just with that glaive, he's going to be picking off Mutalisks per hit here. Ouch. You can see all the... This is just going to vanish. Absolutely vanish. Oh, man. Somehow still able to take that out with just a sliver of health left on all of those Mutalisks. So, but he needs to be very, very careful because he's got to work off just pure numbers. Just able to... Just working off... Focus firing those Mutalisks as quickly as possible rather than engaging them wholesale. And a Hydralisk den. A Hydralisk den being planted to switch it up. This is crazy. So now Hydralisk den in the mix. I can see why he's skipping Devourer, actually, now that I think about it. Devourer is very slow. Very good for anti-air. They definitely, especially with the splash and kind of that low rate of damage, and I think especially in combination with that Plague. That's what I felt like they would be really good for, is defending that Defiler in particular. You get that Plague off, you have that Defiler, that Devourer up above. You really want to use it. Looks like Yellow coming back to take out that Spore Colony. He's been having trouble with that mining right there, and going to take that out so his mining speeds up instead of having it bugged out this entire time. He's actually been kind of hurt on gas as a result. But now Saint gathering back up. He's actually in a pretty good economic position. Let's see if he can deal with the switch to Hydralisk, because it's going to be a Hydra Muta Zergling combo. It looks like he's actually got his Hive up. He's going to have his own evolution chamber and a little bit to work with here. He's actually in a much better economic position than Yellow is, and I think as soon as he gets his Defilers out, he's going to be able to kind of push forward and get something accomplished. Because yeah, just much superior economy. And I've never seen a Zerg versus Zerg where the main got mined out. Wow, the main almost mined out here for Saint. and Yellow's actually got to think about thinking about taking expansion here. He's got a pretty sizable Hydralisk army. This is where actually Swarm, if it's in the mix, could really play a powerful role, because